The old man sheds his skin once every 300 years. Each time he does, his cultivation advances to a new level. After cultivating for 3,000 years and shedding 9 times, he had already become the only living immortal. But as he looked around, he realized he was no longer on the familiar Mount Kunlun, so he touched his forehead to look into the past. He saw that 3 years ago, Mount Kunlun had been turned into a tourist attraction, and because he had sealed his divine soul for cultivation, he lost his consciousness. The construction crew didn't know what to do, so they handed him over to me, saying he was my great-grandfather. I didn't drive him away. Instead, I took care of him every day and played with him like a puppy because of my care. The old man didn't let 3,000 years of cultivation go to waste. Thinking of this, his heart felt warm. Just then I called him to eat. The old man walked over and called me grandson. I saw the rattle drum in his hand and gently coaxed him to eat first before playing. While I was wiping his hands, the old man suddenly said I had worked hard these past few years. I froze and looked at him in disbelief. He clearly told me he was back to normal and no longer confused. I was about to cook 2 more dishes to celebrate, but he stopped me, said we should change to a better house. I hesitated and told him I hadn't saved much these 2 years. The old man understood immediately. I had quit my job to take care of him and worked part-time as a delivery rider for the flexible hours. He told me not to worry about money. He said an emperor from the previous dynasty gave him several courtyard houses. I thought his illness wasn't fully cured, so I told him to just eat, but he raised his hand, and an ancient wooden box landed in his palm. I opened it and saw real property deeds, though still half in doubt. I said I'd call a friend to take a look. On the other end, the campus belle answered my call and asked if I had finally decided to be her personal secretary. I awkwardly declined and brought up the deeds. When she saw the photo, she immediately said it wasn't for courtyard houses, but for a royal palace. Over 60,000 square meters, with lakeside pavilions and a Jiangnan-style garden. But then she let me down, said the palace had been turned into a public park. Even if the deed was real, it had no legal value now. I felt a bit disappointed, but the old man told me not to worry. He said he had antiques stored in a bank vault that could be sold for a good amount. I was amazed. He had even kept savings in a bank. Soon we arrived at the bank. While I was on the phone, the old man marveled at modern technology, said it was truly a great era. Just then, the campus belle stepped out of a luxury car. I greeted her, but she ignored me, then handed a hat to the old man. She asked how much the antiques were worth. The old man casually said a few million silver dollars. I started doing the math. She was shocked. Said that's worth several billion USD today. She joked that I was secretly a 4th-generation rich kid. I quickly explained. The old man probably meant a few hundred silver dollars. He didn't correct me. She said that was still a lot of money, then led us inside. I noticed the bank looked more like an antique store. She explained. The bank's founder started with a pawn shop. Unredeemed antiques were displayed on the first floor for sale, to reclaim the old man's collection. We had to go upstairs. A staff member walked over, recognized her as a regular, then looked at me and the old man with disdain. Called us country bumpkins. Before she could reply, the old man asked if the founder was still alive. Seeing the man's reaction, the old man pulled out a stack of silver notes, told him to take them to the founder. The man opened them and saw they were genuine notes from the previous dynasty. His tone changed immediately and told us to wait right there. He rushed the silver notes to the bank manager. The manager called the owner. Upon hearing the old man's name, the owner's hand trembled and dropped his teapot. He asked for a photo of the notes. After seeing it, he ordered the manager to fulfill any request the old man had, then personally set off in a car. Just then, the owner's great-grandson entered, grabbed the campus belle's arm, and asked why she never showed up after he waited 2 hours at the restaurant. Why she was sneaking around with a hillbilly. She told him bluntly she had no feelings for him and asked him to stop harassing her. That infuriated the rich kid. He said her grandmother had taken 30 million in bride price, and now she dared deny the engagement. Then he raised his hand to slap her, but I stepped in like a hero. The rich kid flew into a rage, grabbed a 10 million yuan vase, and tried to smash it over me, but the old man would never let me get hurt. He picked up his hat and flung it, sending the rich kid flying straight into the display shelf.